Let's find out. Are you an idiot? Look at the screen. You see two squares, right? The question is which one looks darker? You have 3 seconds to decide. Time's up, idiot. You probably chose square A, but guess what? Both squares are the same shade of gray. So why does square A look darker? It's simple because it's surrounded by lighter colors, while square B is surrounded by darker colors. Your brain has been fooled. It perceives a difference that doesn't exist. This happens because your eyes and brain are constantly trying to analyze the colors surrounding them. To do this, they automatically compensate for brightness, a clever but also error-prone mechanism. This logical error is what creates the illusion. And here's where the difference between an average brain and a genius brain begins. The average brain accepts the obvious, while the genius brain is always questioning. In this video, you'll discover whether you exhibit signs of a genius or simply an average person. Through 10 quick questions divided into 6 different areas, we'll test how you think, feel, and react. Ready? Let's start with the first area. Personality. Question 1. Imagine you're invited to a crowded party. Do you, find an excuse to decline or show up just to say hello and leave? B. Eagerly meet new people and chat until the very end. Think for 5 seconds. Stop geniuses usually choose option A, not because they're antisocial, but because they know their brains don't like wasting energy on meaningless conversations. They understand that their inner world is much more interesting than superficial chit-chat. Question 2. Look around your room or desk. It's a little messy, but you know where everything is? B. It's perfectly organized, with not a single thing out of place. If you think that order is a sign of intelligence, think again. True geniuses tend to choose option A. They thrive in organized chaos. What looks like a mess to you is a living mind map to them. They don't need everything in order to focus or be creative. Question 3. You're presented with an opportunity to learn a completely new skill. At first, it seems daunting and a little scary. Would you, skip it and keep scrolling through TikTok? B. Dive in, tinker, and experiment until you get the hang of it. Geniuses choose option B. They embrace challenges and the unknown because they stimulate growth. They're not afraid of making mistakes because they understand that mistakes are the raw material for sharpening their thinking. While you are still trying to remember what the question is, they are already halfway there. Question 4. When taking notes, you, write slowly, clearly, and beautifully, making it easy to read later. B. Write quickly, sometimes messily, as long as you understand it. Geniuses tend to choose option B. Why? Because they think faster than they write. And keeping up with the flow of thoughts is much more important than presentation. A study in the North American Journal of Psychology shows that people who write quickly tend to remember better and take notes more effectively, even if their handwriting resembles chicken scratches. Question 5. You are preparing for a 7-day camping trip. You will. Prepare 7 different outfits for each day. B. Pack a few basic, lightweight, reusable items. If you chose option B, congratulations, you're thinking like a genius. Or a billionaire? Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, and even Barack Obama all wear pretty much the same thing every day. Why they don't want to waste brainpower on small decisions like what to wear each day? They save that energy for more important things. Okay, the next area is observation. Now let's see how observant you are. Are you ready? Here's the first exercise. Read the following sentence quickly and find the mistake. They're going to the store to buy some milk, and then they're meeting their trians at the park. Do you see anything strange? Is there anything repeated? If you find the word buy written twice, congratulations, you just passed the test that many people miss. This is not easy because your eyes automatically ignore small errors that your brain deems reasonable. But a genius's brain is not so easily fooled. It acts like a mini detective, always checking everything carefully down to the last detail. Here's the extra challenge. Close your eyes and type observation in the comment section if you are watching the video. If you type it correctly, you not only have good recognition skills, but also good hand-brain coordination. If you type it incorrectly, well, that's okay. At least you know you need to practice your reflexes. Now, area, let's look at thinking logic. Here's a simple math question that will make you sweat. A train leaves station A at 8 a.m., traveling at 60 kilometers per hour. Another train leaves Station B, which is 120 kilometers away, at 9 a.m., traveling toward Station A at 80 kilometers per hour. What time do the two trains meet? Take 15 seconds to think, and time's up. If you figured out that the answer is around 9:26 a.m., you're correct. Why the first train travels 60 kilometers in an hour before the second train departs? The distance between the two trains is now only 60 kilometers. At a combined speed of 140 kilometers per hour, 60 plus 80, it takes about 0.43 hours or approximately 26 minutes for them to meet. The problem is straightforward but requires you to remain calm. Think carefully and not panic about the numbers. Geniuses are not only quick but also composed. Which team do you think you belong to? Next, a genius is not only someone who can perform mental arithmetic faster than a calculator, but also someone who is empathetic, knows how to control their impulses, and doesn't burst into tears just because someone forgot to like their story. Yes. Welcome to part 3, the emotional intelligence. First question. You're sitting in a meeting and someone accidentally dismisses your idea. Would you, smile awkwardly, then spend the rest of the afternoon replaying the conversation in your head as if you're making a documentary titled How I Got Hurt? B. Nod slightly. Listen. Think. Okay, let me improve. And continue to provide feedback with a gentle smile. If you chose B or yes, great. This is how a smart, empathetic mind works. Geniuses understand that not everyone who rejects them is their mortal enemy. Perhaps they just haven't had enough coffee to grasp the truth you just shared. Next question. A close friend suddenly starts acting strangely a bit cold and avoidant. Would you, spend all night analyzing? Did I say something wrong, or maybe I didn't like 3 of their posts that day, then quietly blame yourself? B. Send a simple text, hey, what's going on, and listen if they're willing to share. If you chose Biachpai, you're processing your emotions like an experienced therapist. High emotional intelligence is not just about being able to control your anger, but also about perceiving other people's emotions without judgment and without projecting them onto yourself. And finally, you just messed up something important, like accidentally sending an embarrassing email to your boss. Would you, close your laptop, pack your things, write a resignation letter, and learn how to grow vegetables to survive? B. Take a deep breath, send a polite apology email, and remember to always double-check the reply all button. If you chose B, you not only have a high EQ, but also possess what psychologists call resilience, the ability to recover from failure. Geniuses are not afraid of making mistakes. They're only afraid of not learning from them. Now, after testing whether you can handle emotions smoothly enough to survive a holiday with relatives, get ready to enter the next part as part 4. Creative thinking. Let's go. First question. You are stranded on a deserted island, and you have only 3 items of rope, a knife, and a metal pot. What would you do to signal for help? A. Sit and stare at the 3 items as if they would automatically turn into Wi-Fi. B. Use the pot to reflect sunlight to create a distress signal. Turn the rope into a flag, and use the knife to carve an SOS signal into wood, or even fashion a fishing spear to survive. If you chose B, congratulations. Not only are you creative, but you have also survived longer than 99% of the population in survival movies. Creative geniuses always see potential in things that others consider useless. A pot. To them, it is a signal transmitter, a knife. It serves as both a survival tool and a free-range paintbrush. Next question. You've been tasked with coming up with an idea for an advertising campaign for a product, toothbrushes. Sounds dry? Right, would you? Use the twice a day to avoid cavities. B. Create a scenario where the toothbrush is the main character in an action movie, fighting off an army of bacteria in your mouth like a bathroom version of a Marvel film. If you chose B, hello. Superbrain creative thinking is the ability to look at a familiar problem from a completely new perspective and to make people say, wow, instead of, And finally, the tricky question. Do you tend to ask weird what-if questions like, if clouds were made of cotton candy, what would rain be like? If I could rewind 3 seconds before I tripped, would my life be different? If cats could talk, would they tell the truth? If your answer is, yeah, I still think about that stuff, then congratulations. You're a member of the unconventional neural network, people who are creative thinkers outside the box. The world needs people like you, those who dare to dream, dare to imagine, and dare to ask the questions that no one else dares to ask. Now, after proving that you can turn a pot into a beacon and a silly question into $1 million idea, let's move on to the final part, where only the laser-focused brain can succeed. Part 5. Deep Focus. Are you ready? Have you ever tried counting the number of E's and S's in a paragraph? Here's the exercise. Read the following passage carefully for 15 seconds, and count how many E's and how many S's there are in total. 7 Mart students secretly study science on serene evenings. Let's start counting. 3 to 1. Time's up. How many did you count? If your answer is 12 E's and 9 S's for a total of 21, great, you've just passed the challenge that many people give up on by the second line. Why is this exercise important? Because it not only tests your ability to focus, but also your patience and ability to block out distractions. A genius is not just someone who comes up with great ideas, but someone who sits still long enough to execute them. If you can't handle it, shame on you. It's not even that hard. It's just a matter of paying attention. Idiot. Now it's time to know the truth. Answer whether you are a genius or average. Comment your results below, and I hope to see you in the next video.